Hi, I'm Laura Stover, Director of HR Advisory Services. Today's topic is marijuana in the workplace. It seems like marijuana legalization is always in the news, and really the impact that marijuana is having on the workplace is evolving as all this legalization happens. There's approximately 38 states and Washington, D.C. that have legalized some form of marijuana. But despite that, marijuana is still illegal under federal law. So employers under federal regulations have even more compliance obligations. And all this leaves employers with a maze of laws to try to interpret. And each state laws have varying restrictions and protections. So it can be very challenging for employers when trying to deal with this issue. As of now, employers are still within their rights to prohibit the consumption of marijuana at work. Employees cannot be impaired under marijuana at work, just like with alcohol. Where it gets tricky is the testing for marijuana. Because it can stay in an employee's system up to 30 days, the testing can tell if someone has used marijuana, but not necessarily real-time intoxication. And that puts employers in a really difficult position. There are some things you should be thinking about at this time. For example, pre-employment testing. Are you going to keep marijuana in your drug panel? And if so, you want to be careful that you're not violating any ADA or HIPAA protections for applicants in your employment process. Also want to consider how you're handling, if you're doing criminal background checks, marijuana-related crimes. It's important to keep things in context. For example, how long ago was the charge? How egregious was it? What type of position are they applying for? Is there a pattern of use? Those are all things you want to consider. And of course, you want to make sure you have a very clear, well-written policy. You want to be looking at things like how are we handling pre-employment testing, reasonable suspicion, and post-accident testing. Your employees need to be trained so that they understand their expectations, and also managers as well, especially with things being trained on like reasonable suspicion. And if you don't have an employee assistance program, that would be something you may want to consider as well, because it's a really great resource and support for employees that are looking for information on drug and alcohol use, or maybe possibly suffering from addiction. So employers have a lot to consider as the laws are evolving and constantly changing. If you are considering taking an adverse action against someone based on marijuana use, we definitely recommend that you talk to either an HR expert or legal counsel to make sure that you fully understand the local, state, and federal regulations that may apply to your company. As always, please reach out if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.